From a deist perspective, the doctrine of original sin presents several logical and argumentative flaws that deserve thorough examination. To begin with, let's consider the central premise. According to this doctrine, all human beings inherit a guilt or moral stain due to an act committed by the first humans, Adam and Eve. But is it really just or logical that all human beings, without exception, should bear the consequences of an act in which they did not participate? 1. Collective injustice. Imagine someone in your town commits a crime. Should all the people in that town, including newborns, be considered guilty and receive the same punishment? In a rational justice system, each individual is responsible for their own actions, not for the actions of others. In fact, punishing a person for something they didn't do is not only unjust but also contradicts any notion of morality based on reason. 2. Free will and responsibility. Deism holds that God has endowed us with reason and free will to make our own decisions. If we accept the idea of original sin, we are assuming that human beings are born already marked by someone else's decision, without the opportunity to exercise that free will from the start. This directly conflicts with the notion that we are responsible for our own choices and that we should be judged by them. 3. How does it affect morality? If morality is based on reason and justice, as many great deist thinkers maintain, what sense does a doctrine make that tells us we are inherently bad from birth, without having had the chance to act morally or immorally? This concept can lead to a feeling of hopelessness and lack of personal responsibility, as it might suggest that, no matter what we do, we are already condemned. 4. Consequences for humanity. If we start from the premise that God created us with the ability to reason and understand the world, why would He punish us all for a supposed error committed at the beginning of humanity? It seems contradictory that a reasonable and just God would design a system in which humanity is born with a moral disadvantage without having done anything to deserve it. Moreover, wouldn't it be more consistent with the nature of a rational creator to give us the opportunity to learn and grow through our own experiences, rather than beginning our existence with an unnecessary burden? 5. Personal responsibility. Finally, deism deeply values personal responsibility and the search for truth through reason. The doctrine of original sin, by suggesting that we are already tainted from birth, could lead to a fatalistic approach where individuals feel they cannot do anything to improve their condition. In contrast, deism promotes the idea that each of us has the capacity and responsibility to live according to reason and morality, and that our actions, not an inherited guilt, determine our moral worth. From a deist perspective, original sin appears not only illogical but also unjust and contrary to the nature of a creator who has endowed us with reason and free will. The idea that we are born with an inherent guilt based on an ancestral act is incompatible with the notion of rational justice and personal responsibility that one would expect in a universe designed by a reasonable supreme being.